right, let's take you back to our senior reporter, Aviwe Mtila now, which we've been able to reconnect to. Aviwe, earlier on, I think you were showing us a picture of people who have opted to actually use the water that is still blocked along what used to be a road to bathe, etc. Tell us more.
We're on top of that bridge, Maseko, in Skumbukweni. The only road leading to the village has been destroyed by the flood. So now what you're seeing are efforts to get across groceries and water, as well as water, as Skumbukweni has been totally cut off here. It's the infrastructure woes, in fact, that's a burden to KwaZulu-Natal, as the people that you see in the rain that we are currently experiencing now, they have to swim across to get the groceries in and out. Tomorrow is school, Maseko, the concerning issue, and in Skumbukweni there are no schools whatsoever. So the children either have to also cross this bridge, the river that you see here, or not go to school tomorrow as those schools reopen. It's actually an issue that I want to catch up with the Deputy Mayor in KwaZulu-Natal, who's also in charge of the infrastructure. Deputy Mayor, you can see the situation with the bridges and the state that they're in currently. It's a matter that needs to be addressed urgently. How soon are we going to see the roads and some of these bridges fixed in here?
Well, what we can say is that we are on top of it. As you know, we've started fixing some off. This one is one of our concern. Our yellow plant is here tomorrow. We're starting to fix this bridge so that the community can be able to cross. Just as you have said that kids are going to school as early as from tomorrow. So we'll start fixing this so that we can be able to cross.
The rain, though, what role will it play then in getting the infrastructure back on track? As we can see the need for the infrastructure, but also the rain is coming down as we speak.
Unfortunately, the rain is coming up, so that means the rivers are not lowering the currency that we have. As you can see, this river is very, very coming heavy. However, we need to make a plan. We understand that the SNDF as well will be here in the morning with a bridge that will allow the young one to start crossing, but also to be able to ferry the food across.
The infrastructure is quite a dire problem in the province. We've seen many such places, and this quite literally right around eThekwini. How soon are your targets in terms of getting at least the main routes back on track?
Well, in my cluster, we're having a war room that sits every morning from 8 to 9. We're really looking at issues on a daily basis. In the afternoon, we're having a joint operation center where, again, we look at how the day has progressed. So we are taking this very, very serious because we know our community need the infrastructure to be up and running so it can assist them.
Are there targets in terms of getting the infrastructure to some sense of normalcy once more?
Exactly, that's what we're doing. But what we're doing as well, it is to concentrate on the main areas that links the people who are those people are like in an island as we speak.
Okay, and you also mentioned a bit earlier on the burden of the schools not being ready, as a lot of them house a lot of people. Are there any plans to assist people that have been cut off completely, such as those that live in Skumbukweni?
Certainly, as you can see, we've brought them some water here. We'll be bringing them some food as well. The issue of the schools and the kids that cannot cross, as we're going back to the jog this afternoon, we need really to get to some finality as to how we're going forward with that one, but we are paying attention to it.
Okay, I'm not sure if I can actually move a bit closer. Try to talk to some of these gentlemen if I do have time, Maseko, just to understand. Domkul. Thank you for joining up at ENCA. Mari niqeshiwe apho kanye ninonizenzela yona ningumphakathi le.
Yebo, kahle kahle into esenza njengomphakathi ngoba siyabona ukuthi ayikho enye indlela ngoba izitolo nezikole zingala ngaphesheya kuze siza senzele ukusizana kuze wonke umuntu ofuna usizo akwazi ukuthola usizo ngoba ngale kwale ukuhamba lana kumele uhambe kule yantaba uyoshona le uzothola khona ibridge manje yona ndlela enqamlelayo leni esisebenzisayo siyasizana njengomphakathi hayi ukuthi ukhona usiqashile
into ezifana nani enikhona uzweza lana
kahle kahle yonke inhlobo ukudla ngoba kuthanga kade siwelisa amasilinda ngoba ngisho ugesi kade ungekho siwelisa amasilinda egesi lana ewela lana o-14 kg bebewela lana, i-rice, impuphu, inhlobo egrosa nje yonke iwela lana.
Niphephile kodwa?
Kahle ngizothi okwamanzi sosiphephile ngoba akekho sathathwa amanzi. Ngoba sikhulele amanzi siyakwazi ukuhlamba. Siyasizala nje. Njobe esikwazi ukuhlamba, bangakwazi ukuhlamba bama ngaphandle. Kuwela abakwazi ukuhlamba lana. Belinde bephathise ngalena ezitolo. Uma kufika lana beweliselwe wona.
Okay, thank you very much. Part of the Good Samaritans, Maseko, that are helping Skumbukweni and the community here as they've been totally cut off. There are no schools there are no shops, and we're told the only way for now is the measures that they're putting here, literally dragging the groceries across with a rope. We heard even gas cylinders, and as heavy as they are, some of the things that are being transported here, as also the electricity has been cut off. As they try to get back to normalcy. We spoke, of course, with the Deputy Mayor, who's also in charge of the infrastructure in eThekwini, showing us this is one of the roads that, in fact, they're tackling tomorrow with urgency. But, of course, those war rooms continuing in terms of getting time frames on just fixing, especially the major routes around eThekwini, because what you see here is just one of many roads and infrastructure that have been totally collapsed by the devastating floods.
And Aviwe, I see it's starting to rain there where you are, so I can imagine those residents who say they're trying to help each other get groceries across the water, what it would mean now as it starts to rain again.
You can see they continue, Maseko, even with that rain. There's a gentleman here, I was calling him Michael Phelps just a bit earlier on, because he's just as good in swimming and even swimming with those groceries. So he's continuing while the rain is also pouring down here. It's actually one of the biggest concerns mentioned in many briefings here. If the rain was to continue and the impact that it would have, you'd understand, Maseko, that a lot of the infrastructure in itself, especially when it comes to the water and sanitation pipes, they haven't been assessed as yet because the water is still high. The water levels are still quite high. So they haven't been able to quantify the extent of the damage. We heard earlier on the estimation there is about at least 80% of those pipelines have been damaged. But there are no real figures even on how much it will take to actually rebuild the infrastructure or how long it will take. As they're still waiting for those water levels to come down. But of course, you can see the rain is now persisting once more, which is going to add to the woes of eThekwini, of course, and those concerns of the floods themselves coming back, and the access to many areas as well, such as Skumbukweni, which has been totally cut off to civilization, if I can call it that way.
Yeah, Aviwe, I'm just looking at that man who's swimming across the water, being assisted there. He's obviously taking those water bottles across the other side. You said that at some point he even swims with the groceries with him.
He certainly does. I'm not sure if I can actually get a word with him.
I think so.
Hey, he's a bit tired. In fact, he's strapped in the rope, Maseko. I'm not sure if the camera can actually zoom in there. He's actually tied in the rope. Some of the difficulty in coming to us here. He's standing on the bridge, part of the bridge that's actually been broken down, Maseko. Just the dangers around all of what's happening now. As you'd understand, there are actually rocks that have been swept away just to our right here that have actually piled up in numbers. That would give you the extent of the floods and the devastation that eThekwini and KwaZulu-Natal was facing. At one point, as we've been crisscrossing Durban, we were told that there was a 5-meter high wall, in fact, that was sweeping through, causing destruction. And you see these rocks here, some of those things that have been left in the wake of that destruction. So it was quite an intensive in terms of the water levels here. They were quite intense, Maseko. And the fears as the rain now comes back is that everything will then go back to normalcy and be attended to with urgency.
All right, senior reporter Aviwe Mtila with that report for us. And as you can see there with that picture he was giving us, it's quite a rural area. And hopefully that man is able to get all those groceries across and not catch the flu as it continues to rain in KZN.